Snack Shack, and we'll talk a little bit more about Snack Shack and how that works. But they basically hustle food and water, and so that we have access to snacks and something to drink during the event. So I just want you all to be aware that there is a rather large committee of folks that we call the event leadership team, or an ELT, that are working really hard to put this whole thing together. So most of the time, you're just going to see probably us in our snazzy blue shirts. But just know we are not the whole sum of it. There's a whole lot of other people that are involved. So, and from time to time, they will drift in and out of meetings, and you will see them, like Josh is here today. So, what we want to focus on today is putting your team together and basically getting started. Next week, we're going to talk primarily about some fundraising, and then our last boot camp, we'll talk about how to get ready for the day of the event, and then we have a little celebration because we survived boot camp, and so that's the plan. So you've already accomplished goal number 1 on putting your team together. Start early. The fact that you're here says you're starting early. And who do you put on your team? Anybody you want to, right? Your family, your friends, your coworkers, people you go to church with, your kids' friends, parents, anybody that you can think of that has a reason to relay. And in my opinion, everybody has a reason to relay something, we just haven't discovered it yet. So we recommend strongly that you get a team captain toolkit. I always have a hard time with that word. You can download that from the web. We uploaded that last night, so I know it's there. A lot of helpful forms in there for you on how to put your team together, what you're looking for. Strongly recommend that you partner with your ambassador. If you have not heard from your ambassador, you probably will within the next week or so. Hopefully you all are already starting to hear from your ambassadors. There's one group of folks that probably haven't yet.
Most misfits probably has not. That's it for who's here.
Yeah, okay. We had an ambassador drop out, so, and you were hers, so you'll get reassigned. So you'll hear from an ambassador soon. But use your ambassador. Your ambassador is, we've always called them mentors, and that's exactly what they do. This year, with the changes from the national ACS level, everybody's calling them ambassadors. So just know ambassador is the same thing as a mentor. So they've just been there, and they know what you're going through. They know what you're doing. They know the planning process. So holler to them and say, hey, what do I do about this? Or do you have any ideas about how I can solve that problem? And then we have Heather and Arsalan in the back who are our lead ambassadors. So if you have any trouble with your ambassador, you can certainly contact them.
And you all should have received, except you guys, you should have all received an email today telling you who your ambassador is. So feel free to reach out to them too. Don't wait for them.
And if you got it handled, don't worry about it. Feel free to ignore your ambassador, but let them know, hey, I got this. And we tell them, most of the time they're probably not going to bother you till about a week before relay, and then your phone's going to blow up. That's okay. That's okay. If you want to let them go until you get into the practicalities of putting it together, that's fine. That's what they're there for. So they'll be there for you throughout the whole event. So use them. They're a great resource. They're very, very helpful folks. If you haven't done it, recruit a co-captain. You cannot. Yes, you can do this by yourself. I don't know why you would want to. It's crazy making and it's hard, and it's well worth it. It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of hard work, and it's going to be a whole lot easier if you have a co-captain. Strongly recommend a co-captain. My team is East meets West, and we have 4 captains. Because that way it just makes it easier to divide the work. And for those times when you get swamped, your co-captain says, okay, don't worry about it, I got it, I can do that for you. And it just grief divided, that's all I'm going to say. The best way to get your story out there is to make it personal. If I tell you, if I've never met you and I come stick my hand in your face and shake your hand and say, hey, my name's Evelyn Mundy and I'm a volunteer with the American Cancer Society. We're trying to wipe out cancer and I could sure use your help. Would you like to make a donation to me? Probably gonna say no, right? You don't know me. Why would you wanna help me? But if I come to you and I say, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Evelyn Mundy. I'm a volunteer with the American Cancer Society and I'm a 17-year survivor of cancer, thanks in no small part to the American Cancer Society. And several years ago, my dad was diagnosed on Christmas Day, and by June, he was gone. And that feeling really motivated me, that grief I had really motivated me to help other people and reach out and say, you know what, I don't want you to feel what I had to feel. I'm wondering if you would partner with me in my journey to help put an end to cancer. Can I count on you for your support? I've made my story personal. I've brought you into my story, and you feel a little more motivated to help me. Make it personal. Don't be afraid. Yeah, first couple of times you tell your story, particularly if it's personal, you might cry a little. That's okay. That's okay. Particularly, you know, if it can be female and they happen to be male, they want to fix it. So, you know, use what you got, right? Use what you got. So, some teams put together a letter. Our team has put together a letter. There's a young lady on our team. She's 26. She's a leukemia survivor. She's still battling. She's primarily a survivor, but she's still battling. And we share her story. And we say, you know, this is what she's going through. And she's still battling. She had a rough go of it. And she is still being impacted, you know. She's discovering now she's going to have trouble having kids if she ever gets to have kids. Help me make that not happen for somebody else. So we just, as a team, we make it personal, and as individuals, we make it personal, and that's really what works. So when you're talking to people, whether it be, hey, do you want to be on my team, or hey, do you want to give me a donation, or hey, can you sponsor my team? Make it personal. That's what's going to make the difference for you. Excuse me. Explain what the event is about. It's a very difficult question to answer in 30 seconds when somebody says, what is Relay for Life? My very first impression was, oh, it's a 24-hour event. I can find 12 people and ask them to walk 2 hours and we're good. Right? It doesn't work like that here, does it? There's a whole lot more to it. It's a great big party. So, use the tools that we have, use the website. We have a video on the website that we put, it's not on the website, it's on Facebook and on YouTube. We put it together last year with videos from our relay. And a picture's worth 1,000 words. If you haven't seen that video, it's worth watching because we show pictures of our Miss Relay contest and fundraising ideas and the corn shucking contest and the luminaria. So it's, you know, it's about 3 minutes long, give or take. Yeah.
3.5 maybe.
Yeah, use that. Use the website to show them. And develop your answer of what is Relay for Life. My very quick answer for folks is it's a 24-hour event where teams of people camp out overnight, where they celebrate survivors, remember those we've lost, and take that opportunity to fight back, especially to fight back by raising money in the fight against cancer. It's not really very informative about what Chino Relay looks like, but that tells them a little bit about what Relay for Life is. So develop your story, make it personal, and share it with people. And then decide, how big do you want your team? When you're first starting out, you may want a ginormous team. Maybe you've got a huge family and they're all coming and it's going to be great and everybody divides things up and everybody does exactly what they say they're going to do and nobody's left holding the bag. Really? Really? Ever. I don't care what family you're with. So decide how big you want your team to be. For us in Chino, 45 and over is a large team. If you have 45 people or more, you are entitled to a second campsite if you want it. Just know if you take that second campsite, you must decorate it, and then you must clean it up. So a second campsite is not always the joy you think it is. So 44 and under is a small team, and they will have one campsite, but the campsites are about 20 by 30 and plenty big enough for that many people, and most people come and go. So decide really how big do you want your team, how large do you want to grow it, and then work your magic and tell your stories to get your team the way you want it to be. And when you're asking people to be on your team, explain to them what you're looking for. Excuse me, I have somebody on my team, hardly ever see her. She makes our hat every year. That's what she does. But that's what she can do. So we know, hey Irene, are you in for the hat? You bet. All right, talk to you in a couple months. You may have somebody on your team where, you know what, I'll be there every meeting and I'll take notes and I'll make sure everybody else on the team gets the notes and everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing and I'll follow up. You got one of those, count yourself lucky. But maybe that's what you're looking for. Are you looking for somebody primarily to walk? You know, somebody, maybe you know somebody who's a nurse who says, you know what, the only time I've got is like between midnight and 3 a.m. Sweet, you want to walk the track right then? So decide what it is that you're asking for people to do. Maybe you know people that can do exactly what you're looking for. Fill those wee hours, or, you know, be at your captain's meetings and help you run them. Or, you know what, I'm a great cook, I've got it taken care of, I'll take care of feeding the team. So whatever it is that you need, that's what you need to be seeking out and asking folks to do, and be upfront with them in the very beginning. Make it clear, this is what I really need you to do, and get a commitment for them to do it. One of the things a lot of folks do is they go looking for a guy on their team because they want that guy to be Miss Relay. We all know him, don't we? Right? So that may be something that you're looking for, you know, as somebody to compete in the contest that we have. My husband, God bless him, is not on my team. Relay is not his thing, but he builds our car every year. So you may have resources like that too, that people will say, you know what, I can't really commit to that, but here's what I can do. And if that's something you can use, take it. Take it. And then if you've got somebody that can help you with the administrative tasks, absolutely take that, because that's what becomes overwhelming sometimes. Excuse me. Use the website tools, Facebook. But here's what we're finding out about Facebook. We are not showing up in your news feeds. I don't know why. My hunch is that's part of what has happened within the changes in Facebook, but we're finding out from people, I never saw that. So go to our Facebook page to see what's going on. And I think the more you come to our page, the more likely we are to show up in your news feed. Josh is going to say something as soon as he's farming.
What I've noticed with Facebook is on the left where it says news feed, there's a drop-down menu. A lot of them are defaulting back to your top stories.
Yes.
Right.
Which is popular things that are being liked and whatnot. If you just change it to most recent,
Yeah,
it shows every single thing in order it was posted.
Even when I do that, and even when I'm the one that's posting on Facebook,
Really?
I'm sometimes not showing up in my feed.
Yeah, usually like, because I won't see things, but then I'll change it to most recent, I'll scroll down and I'll see whatever I was missing or whatnot.
Yeah. I think it's because we're some sort of organization or whatever.
That, or when you edit things, I know sometimes it messes things up. So
Right.
you post and then
And
edit.
they're trying to push us to pay for stuff.
That's exactly.
Which we're not going to do because we have no budget for that. So go to the Facebook page. Some of the folks have given us stuff, they will post on our page for us, but know that that does not show up in the news feed. What you need to do is email it to us so that we can post it, and that's what will show up in the news feed.
Or on the main page, otherwise
Right.
it's gonna be off here.
Yeah,
on a
people will have to go
section.
look, go over to the side, scroll down, and find it on purpose. So know that if you're posting it on our Facebook page, the chances of it getting seen are very, very small. So email it to us, we'll get it on the Facebook page, and if it's a fundraiser that you guys are doing, email it to us. We'll get it on the Facebook page, and we'll also put it on our website. And how are we doing on Twitter, Josh? We good?
We're ready to roll
It's
on that?
updated
Okay.
and everything.
Okay.
And we're also gonna be sending it out to the fundraisers, out to the Chino champion too. So if it's in a timely fashion and they can get it in the paper, they will.
Hey,
So
I just need
we-
JPEG.
You what?
Yeah, we do too.
Okay.
Yeah, we need JPEG. So if you can't do JPEG, don't worry about it. Send us what you've got. We'll turn it into something we can use.
But if you
But
can,
if
please
you
do.
send it in JPEG, that saves us 2 or 3 steps. So that would be awesome.
Yeah.
We'd be so grateful.
But
So
we do highly recommend going to the Facebook site on the page itself regularly.
Yeah.
We're posting currently every day, every other day, something, whether it be reminders or fundraisers or something. So if you want to keep up on what's happening, go to the page.
yeah, every once in a while we just post a go get 'em guys post too, because we all need to be reminded why we do what we do. You want to talk a little bit about the dashboard? No. Okay, I'll talk about the dashboard. The Relay for Life page. You went in and you registered and it's keeping track of your team and how much money you've raised. Your dashboard is there, and you can email people from your dashboard, and they have templates you can use. You don't have to create your own email. What I do, and this is just my preference, I go in there and I create my letter and I send it to me, because then it puts the little American Cancer Society pictures on it and all the contact information and that kind of stuff. And then I go to my own email and I forward that to everybody on my contact list. So it's still got all the pretty little stuff from using the dashboard, but then I can send it person by person, because I know, like you, I mean, I know my contacts and I know what I can ask them for. I'm a bookkeeper by trade, and so I have my clients, and so I know what the circumstances for each one of my clients are, so I can say, hey, give me $500 this year, as opposed to maybe, hey, I've got a $100 business card sponsorship available for you. So, so that's what I do, and then it comes from me, and then I can tailor that letter to each individual instead of sending the same letter out to everybody. But you do what works for you. The dashboard is very user-friendly, and it saves your email addresses, so you can even do it again next year. So dashboard is a very good tool.
You have to save it yourself.
We good?
I was just saying, it didn't always save my letter, I always have to redo that
Yeah,
page.
the letter's not always,
Yeah,
unless you save it as a template.
yeah, that's what I tried.
Yeah.
I've done it that way too, go to my own email.
Yeah, that's just the way I have found it works for me, and then I can forward that letter to somebody and just change what I need to change, and then off it goes. I really strongly want to encourage you to use the online calendar we have, even if you're just trying to see what's going on. As we mentioned, we have a situation where, I think last year we had a day where we had like 4 buncos and a casino night going on at the same time. And that was crazy, because a lot of people want a support relay, and they'll plan their entertainment hours around what's going on. So when we have a night where we've got 3 or 4 or 5 teams doing a fundraiser all on one night, that really divides the pot, so to speak, and cuts down a little bit on the success of our events. So get your own events on there, and then check and see what everybody else is doing, and you can see, hey, so-and-so's doing this, and I'd really like to go to that. And then bring your spirit tracker and get your spirit points, and then hold on to those and spend them in the store. So, and we're gonna be a little more active on Twitter this year, particularly day of. We'll be sending out tweets about, hey, we're doing this on the stage, hey, we're doing that on the stage, in 10 minutes we're gonna have Miss Relay. So if you are a Twitter person, I am not, but if you are a Twitter person, what am I supposed to say, follow us?
Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, follow us.
It's not a like us on Facebook, it's a follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Follow us on Twitter.
The one thing that hopefully we can get set up with it, which I'm hoping you still have my paperwork, but there's a step-by-step thing that where basically when you follow us, you can check off a box that says, send me a text message when they post. And what the hope is that when we post, you'll get a text message, bring a phone charger because your phone will die, but you'll get a text of what we just tweeted, notifying you at the stage in 10 minutes, blah, 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 blah. So that's the goal. Last year, Twitter didn't work because it was too time consuming, but the goal is that that's where we'll get this year.
And I believe one of our teams is bringing a phone charging station this Um, Probably the most important word I can share with you is to delegate. Do not take this on all yourself. You will have a miserable experience and you will never ever want to do this again. I speak from experience. When I survived my very first year as a captain, I think I shared with you, I said, that's it, I'm not coming back. That was awful. My team was this and they didn't do that. Nobody said they would do what they said they did. And delegate, delegate, delegate. Share the workload. You're certainly at the helm and you're leading your team, but don't hesitate to delegate the tasks that you know that your team can do for you. Keep in mind the supplies you're going to need, and the supplies you're going to need is depending upon what you're going to do. What you might need is going to be different than what I might need, and we are going to have a handout as we get closer of suggested items to bring to relay. And did we put that up?
It's on the website under documents, says what to bring.
Yeah, so that's there. It's just some suggestions of things that you may or may not have already thought of. You know, tape, scissors, zip ties, baby wipes. Yeah, baby wipes. Yeah,
I
that's.
think it's also in the captain's kit, if they download the zip captain toolkit.
Okay, and we'll have that as a handout for you as well. So, but as you go along, just keep a list of what supplies you're going to need, depending upon what fundraisers that you're doing, depending upon what contests you want to enter, depending upon what themed laps you want to be part of. Make a running list, or have somebody on your team keep a list of the supplies, and then get a box. And as you start thinking of things, start throwing it in the box, and then you start collecting things, and then you know what you have left that you still need to go get, or have somebody bring, or take care of. But just keep in mind the supplies that you need. We are a friendly bunch. If we have tape and you need tape, we're probably going to find somebody that'll share it with you. But if nobody brings tape, we're all out of luck. So be the guy that we can go borrow tape from.
Do you have that lap, theme lap stuff posted yet as to what they're gonna be, or no?
Not yet, because it's not done. Probably going to be very similar to what we did last year, with the addition of our very first lap, and we have caregivers lap.
And the goal is to go 24 hours of theme laps.
Yeah, so, and we will have more than we had last year, so that we can fill those wee morning hours with fun stuff and keep people awake and moving. Probably going to be pretty similar to, and we just, for those of you that didn't participate last year, it was the 80s lap, dressed like the 80s, your favorite superhero lap, your favorite sports team.
Purple Passion Hour.
Yeah, we had Purple
Pajamas.
Passion lap.
Pajamas.
We had pajama lap, the patriotic lap, red, white, and blue. So just all kinds of fun stuff it's a fun way to earn spirit points and a fun way to just kind of goof off and participate. So just keep that in mind as you're building your supply box of, stuff that you need.
It's a great thing for the kids.
Yeah.
They love that stuff.
Yep. Particularly if they're still awake in the wee morning hours when it's pretty quiet. So no, it's never really quiet.
No, it's not.
Just last year.
When it's because
Because
it
of the
was
rain.
soggy. Plan meetings with your teams. Basically, you're going to build your meetings just like we're doing this one here, where you're going to just share with them the information that you have. This is what this is what our team is going to do. It's your job to set the vision for your team. This is the theme we want. This is the education piece we're going to do. This is the direction we're going to move. Anybody have any ideas? Okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, and plan those meetings with your teams. I generally find if we feed them, they will come, but you don't have to feed them. But it does help. So one of the ways that our teams unite is by getting team t-shirts. And y'all can do whatever you want. We just ask you to remember it's a family-friendly event. Josh's team has one of my favorite shirts ever.
It's borderline, but it's still family friendly.
That's right. If you can read, it's a little risque. His team t-shirt says, "Make it the one night stand you won't regret." So, and you know, they're all walking around in the same shirt, so, the sky's the limit. You guys do what you want, make it, you know, within your theme. Our team tends to not necessarily be themed because we want to use our shirts every year. So ours are pretty nondescript. You know who we are and you know what we're doing. So we use them year after year. So our t-shirts are not necessarily based on our theme, but you can do whatever you want. If you want to get new t-shirts every year, you can do new t-shirts every year. It's up to you, but it is kind of a fun way to bring your team together. Just remember that it's family friendly. Virtual walkers. This is sort of a fun idea that we borrowed from a relay up north. Not last year, the year before, 2 years ago, Mary's my cousin, for anybody that didn't know that. She doesn't always claim me, but she's my cousin. She was living in Maine, and I was telling her about relay, and I said, you know, it'd be great if you were involved. So I said, we have a way for you to do that. It's our virtual walker program. And the way the virtual walker program works, the guidelines are up on the website. You can download those so you don't have to remember everything I'm going to say. It's a way for you to incorporate people on your team that cannot be there. So 2 years ago, Mary was a virtual walker on our team, and the way it works is no more than half of your team can be virtual. We don't want people not showing up. Oh, my whole team is virtual. We're virtually there. My big virtual campsite. That's the bathroom. Exactly. That's the one nobody wanted.
Yeah.
So no more than half of your team can be virtual. Your virtual walker must be registered and must raise $100 at least. Okay? And they can walk no more than 1 hour. So what we did with our virtual walkers is, I think we had 3 on our team that year. So those couple of hours in the afternoon when it's ungodly hot is when we had our virtuals walk. So we stayed in the shade of our easy up. We hung a picture out so that we had a representation on the track so that you knew East meets West was walking virtually. And during that hour, Mary was in Maine walking, and because she wasn't at our campsite on our event, she was able to walk with her dog, which would not have been welcome at our relay event. So she walked in Maine for that hour while we sat back and took it easy. So there is a prize for the team with the virtual walker in furthest geographical distance from Ayala Park. And y'all will have a shot at it this year, because we won last year because we had somebody in India. And we're not going to have that this year, so floor's open. So,
And our salon's going.
Virtual walker. Stop talking.
yeah. And last year we had one in London, we had one in Israel. They're all over the United States. But we had one in London, we had one in Israel, and ours was in India, which happened to be partly so. She's not coming back this year, unfortunately. They're taking a year off. But so there is a prize for the team with the furthest virtual walker in geographical distance from Ayala Park. So just remember, no more than half your team can be virtual. They must register. They must raise $100, and they can walk no more than 1 hour. So grandma that lives in Poughkeepsie and wants to be part of your team can be. Obviously, it's on the honor system. We are not going to fly out to see if grandma's walking. We're going to trust grandma. If you trust grandma, we trust grandma. So, and we just ask you to put a sign out so that you have a representation on the track that that you have a virtual walker. And that sign can be whatever you want. What we did was hung the person's picture and put there where they were walking for us. So, for example, my son last year did a study abroad program, and he was the guy in London. And so we just put, you know, his name, his picture, London, England. So, so it's just kind of fun for people to see where your virtuals are from. Any questions on the virtual walker?
Is it different when they sign up? Like, does it say?
Exactly the
Okay.
same, yeah. We will not have any idea that they're virtual. We do have an application form for, if you have a virtual, we just ask you to fill it out so we know where they are, so we know how to figure out when we get out our ruler on the globe to see who's the farthest. We need to tell us where they are, so we can figure out. Actually, we.
Furthest
Google it.
geographical miles according to Google.
Exactly.
At 2:30 in the morning.
Exactly, that's when we do it. We get our phones out, and okay, you look for this guy, you look for this guy, I look for this guy. How far you got? So, and that's basically really what we do at 2 o'clock in the morning, figure out who's got the furthest. So, there's no end generally to what people will do for you if you say thank you. Remember to thank your team members. It's incredibly important. You can get a lot of miles out of me on a thank you, and I know I'm not the only one built like that, so don't forget to thank them. I would encourage you strongly to have a wrap-up party. We will have a wrap-up party for team captains. I encourage you to have a team wrap-up party and talk about, hey, what worked? What didn't work? What could we do better next year? Now that we've had this experience, what do you want to do next year? Do you want to come back next year? How do you see it next year? Do you want to start now for next year? There's a lot of that happening. People, we say we have a relay season, but it's really becoming round the clock because, cancer doesn't take time off either. So
We were at relay last year planning this year's relay.
yeah,
At relay?
At relay, my mom was like, next year we're gonna do this. And-
Yeah.
yeah,
We do that too.
Yeah, we had a theme that day.
yeah,
The theme that we're both doing.
yeah.
The controversial theme this year.
Josh copied us. I don't care what he says.
I planned last year. at
He planned in
relay.
August. What did you plan?
Pretty much the same time.
It was.
Yeah, I think we had planned before we'd even gotten there because I know Santa. So that's pretty much basically the ins and outs and nuts and bolts of putting your team together. Do you have any questions on that piece of it? Any, hey, how do I do this? Or what do you think? Or, yeah, no, it's not okay to kidnap people and hold them at ransom until they give in. That's a bad idea. It's not going to work. It's not for very long. But I'm a big fan of bullying. I should clarify that.
Yes, you should.
Bullying is bad. You should not
Twisting
bully
around the
ever.
world.
Ever. But you can emphatically ask someone to be on your team repeatedly.
This is going worldwide.
Yeah, I realize that.
We got you. We got the videotape now. Face and voice.
Bad. It's bad.
You can edit that
Don't
out.
bully. But you can emphatically ask repeatedly. Okay, so we sort of have three elements to our relay experience. We have our campsite, we pick our theme and we decorate. We have our educational piece and we have our fundraising. So next week we're going to talk primarily about fundraising. Excuse me. So I want to spend a little bit of time, we've got about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the educational piece tonight. The educational piece is up to you. It's very personal. Some people have, a family member, for example, the Lemonheads, that's a longtime team that we've had. Art, their team captain, had brain cancer. The tumor was about the size of a lemon. They are the Lemonheads. And they focus on brain cancer. And they have a very obviously personal reason for doing that. But some teams don't necessarily have a particular cancer that they want to fight against. And you might want to do some general information. So what we ask is that you educate. It's an awesome opportunity. We end up with between 3,000 and 5,000 visitors to our event. So it's an awesome opportunity to do some cancer prevention education, and we don't want to lose that opportunity, which is why we ask all of our teams to have an educational piece. You can go as big as with anything in relay can go as big or as small as you want. You can have a flyer that you get from ACS and you hand that out to everybody. So, you know, don't worry about it, just do something, but it doesn't have to be complicated.
You don't have to be creative. You can, like you said, get the flyer or get a
Absolutely.
brochure from ACS, so.
On the 100th birthday of ACS, my team, we focused on celebrating more birthdays, and we took the opportunity to show all the different colors of the ribbons and what cancers they were for, and we had general prevention tips for folks. So, or you can, you know, like the science boards or the display boards that anybody that's got kids has probably had to run out to like Walmart or Staples at like 11:30 at night because he forgot to tell you the project's due tomorrow. And you can put something on that and be as creative as you want to be. If you're not the creative sort even a little bit. So if you've got somebody on your team that says, hey, I can do that and do this and this and this, great. You can get resource materials from the hospitals. I will tell you, most of the time when you go to the hospitals and ask for resource materials, they're handing you American Cancer Society materials. So you can call the 800 number, say, hey, I'm a relayer. How do I get my hands on something? And in fact, we had a contact from Holton with thyroid cancer
Oh,
materials.
right,
So if anybody's doing anything on thyroid cancer, they want to share what they have. So if that's something that you're interested in.
Who is that speaking to you?
Not sure. Let us know and we can put you in touch with that woman and she can get you her, well, that expired, didn't it? That's Mary's Vanna White impression. Okay, so thyroid, if that's something that you want, let us know, we'll put you in touch with that one.
They said they've got a lot of brochures and goodies. I don't know what that means, but if anyone wants to concentrate on thyroid cancer, definitely let us know. They just relayed somewhere else and had a lot of stuff left over.
My point is it's not hard. It can be hard. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be complicated. It should be something fairly easy for you to do, maybe with a couple of phone calls, or if you have some creative folks on your team that say, hey, yeah, I'll take care of that, and they'll run with that. And you'll decide as a team what area you want to educate on, and go with it. So, don't stress about it. It will be part of your campsite being judged, but don't stress about it.
Last year I did call them to get brochures for us, and they said they don't do that. They told us they wouldn't do it because they don't have the funds to print all that stuff off for like us little people. They would do it for, I mean, you know, the way she said it was like organizations or, you know, big places, but not just for us to hand out.
Yeah, maybe they can email something to you, or maybe they will send one or two of you
Yeah.
and run off copies,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
Well, they did try that for us last year.
yeah, I have not had that experience, but it could be.
Well, maybe the
because-
person answering the phone, you know, you never know.
Yeah,
She's having a bad day.
well, and when you're, you know, team development and you're calling, you might,
Yeah.
you know, it could be that they would understand my needs differently than they would understand yours. So, give it a shot. If they tell you they can't send it to you, see if they can send it to you electronically, and then you can make copies. So,
It worked out last year, we didn't need it, but we did try and go that way.
they're good. I know I went to Kaiser and asked them what they had, and they handed me ACS stuff, and I said, oh, I can get you better stuff than that. But it was the cardiology department, so. Any questions on the educational piece? Okay. Well, wow, we did that in 50 minutes. We're doing good tonight.
Sample campsite?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do have a question.
Yes,
Right. Is there, like a list, so that way you're not like, I mean, I know breast cancer is like one of the big ones that a lot of people do, but, I mean, if you wanted to, like, touch bases on something that, make sure that, like, 5 of the campsites aren't.
Right. She's asking, is there a list? And the answer is yes and no. And the reason it's yes and no, just give me 1 second. Ask is when you know what it is you want to educate on, we ask you to sign up for it. So that, and what we do is we kind of eyeball it to make sure we don't have 75 campsites doing breast cancer.
Right. But are you asking if there's a list
That's
of
what
all
she's
the different
asking.
types of cancers?
No, no, she's
No,
just asking.
just what we
general
know.
group, yeah.
Yeah.
So that everyone don't
Yeah.
do breast cancer like that, that's what
Right.
she's asking.
Next captain's meeting, if you know what you're gonna do, sign up.
And that also goes for fundraising and things like that too, on site.
Yeah, we
If
do.
you're doing, like, we thought we were being unique one year and we were doing bra pong, then the next year we brought it back out and there was 4 or 5 more that were
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where you may see somebody's doing the same thing and you may want to change your mind.
Yeah, we'll have signups for folks that wanna bring RVs, if you need a generator, what fundraiser you're doing, and what educational piece you're doing. And do you need them to sign up for Miss Relay, or do you just wanna?
Show up. I'll have the bios, like, to participate, that type of thing. The signups, you can just show up.
Just show up.
So
Okay.
that it's at a specific time.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll have
Last
an
year-
entertainment schedule, I guess you can say, and it'll show you what's going on for the full 24 hours.
Last year, we had sign-up sheets for Miss Relay and Team Expressions.
Team Expressions was the only one that I absolutely needed.
So do you
Just
need that this
because-
year too?
Yeah, just to kind of get an idea of what to expect from the teams if they're doing something.
Okay,
But Miss Relay,
you don't need it, okay.
if they don't sign up, I'm still taking them, so there's really no point in signing up, other than it gives me an idea of how many ladies we're gonna have.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit and explain what we're talking about
Right.
for those folks that don't know what we're talking about. Miss Relay is our contest. It's a beauty contest, it is a beauty pageant, and is open only to men. We ask them to dress in drag, strut their stuff. Remember that it's family friendly.
PG-13 risque.
Family friendly. No, we don't smack your butt for $1. We just don't.
They just like to smack Josh's butt.
I get, yeah.
And then they take a lap, and the gentleman that comes back with the most money wins. Okay? So that's our Miss Relay contest. Team Expressions is not a talent show, but I am going to use the term talent show because I don't have a better way to explain it. It is basically your team's way of expressing the impact that cancer has had on them. It can be a poem, they can sing, they can do a skit. It's whatever the folks on your team decide that they want to do. It's a team expression, representative of your team at Relay, family-friendly presentation. Does that make sense?
And basically with that, it's anything you can do where you just walk up stage and do it. We're not talking bring the whole band up on the stage, take 15 minutes to set it up to sing one song.
Right.
Poem, plug in a CD for background music, sing a song, that type of stuff.
Okay? That's what team expression is. Did we talk about anything else that,
Hat contest?
the crazy hat contest? We will have for you a handout that talks about all these different contests and stuff that we have. We have a crazy hat contest, is exactly what it says. You decorate a hat, it's kind of wild and out there, generally ties into the theme that you have for your campsite, and we have a contest. And that's generally judged by survivors, isn't that correct?
It's like 4 or 5 categories.
Yeah. We have a team of survivors that will come around and judge your campsite decorations, and they are looking for, is your campsite decorated? Is it user-friendly? Does it invite people in? Do you have an educational piece? Is it obvious?
You have a fundraiser.
You have a fundraiser. So those are the components that they're looking for that. So there will be an entertainment schedule. Usually Miss Relay is about,
7 o'clock, it's right before.
yeah, it's right before
Luminaria.
Luminaria, so it'd be like 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, I think we bumped it up. I think it was like 6 to 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then it gave us some time to clean up and get ready for Luminaria.
And our road to recovery contest is usually about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's our cardboard car contest, and there's a set of rules that goes with that. with Chino relayers, they are some of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life.
And some rule breakers.
Yeah, there are some
Yeah.
rule breakers, so we've had to kind of tweak the rules every year to go, no, Kate, you can't do that. You can do that, but no, you can't do that. So it's basically you make a cardboard cards to highlight the Road to Recovery program. And for those of you that don't know what that is, American Cancer Society will provide a volunteer to take you to and from your cancer treatments and to and from the pharmacy. And that's at no charge to cancer patients. So to highlight that, we have a Road to Recovery contest where teams can make a cardboard card, it's no bigger than 4x8. It can have a wood or PVC or metal frame, however, the body of the card must be cardboard. Has to hold 2 people, and it has to make it around the track at least 1 time.
But it can be carried around the track.
Has to, yeah.
Doesn't-
Yeah, there's
It's
no
not
engine.
literally push
No
the
way to
cart.
wheel it.
There's no engine.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see a car run on a cardboard engine, right?
Yeah, it's- we've had UFOs, we've had
Yep.
Converse sneakers, we've had school buses, limousines,
Taxis.
taxis.
That's the Flintstone car.
We've had a
Yeah,
Flintstone
the
car.
Flintstone
We've had a fire engine last year.
I know we had a fire engine 2 years ago too, didn't we? Yeah.
The Chino Fire Department's from that.
Me neither.
Actually,
We have a camel.
Yeah, we've had all sorts.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have a camel. So those are some of the contests, and we'll talk more about those coming up too. So, I'm gonna kind of wedge my way back to educational piece. Any questions on the educational piece? Everybody's feels confident and comfortable with that? Any questions on anything we've gone over tonight?
Mentioned campsite. Stage 2.
If you recall, last week we had our sample campsite set up for you, and last week was our kind of bare bones. It was just the easy up and the table and the chairs. And Heather, I'll let you talk a little bit about what you added this week.
This week I have your 3 basic components. I have some decorations. We're having a birthday party to celebrate my birthdays. We have our educational piece, which I went online and printed something out about skin cancer. And it's educational. And I have a fundraiser, which is a game, a beanbag toss. So this is just step 2.
So, what we saw last week, bare bones, perfectly acceptable. What we see this week, perfectly acceptable. You guys do what you can. We don't want anybody dying on this cross. So, and then she's got her little tent in the back.
I've got the tent, I got a cooler, got everything I need for the weekend. Jacob was in there.
I fit in that. Hey, I'm 17, big, and I fit in that. I might recommend that, you know.
So that's give and it's really hard to explain what we mean by campsite. So that's why we bring the easy up in every week. So you guys can have some idea of. And next week it'll grow, and week 4 it'll grow even some more. So just to give you some ideas of what you can do. None of this do you have to do. We want you to have fun, we want you to have a good time, and we want you to come back. All right, with that, I think we're about done for this week. I hope we get to see you guys next week for our captain's meeting, and then the following week is boot camp number 3. In the meantime, if you have any questions,
No, never mind.
call your ambassador.
I have a question. I was going to ask you a question. I'm sorry.
Or you can always email us at Chino.